So now we are starting third chapter, that is Arts of the Mauryan period. So 6th century BCE marks the beginning of religious and social movements in the Gangetic Valley in the form of Buddhism and Jainism, which were part of the Shraman tradition. So both religions became popular as they opposed the Varna and Jati system of the Hindu religion. Magadha emerged as a powerful kingdom and consolidated its control. So by 6th century BC, Magadha emerged as a powerful kingdom. So by 4th century BC, Mauryans established their power, and by 3rd century BC, large part of the India was under the Mauryan control. Ashoka emerged as the most powerful king, who patronized the Shraman tradition in the 3rd century BC. Religious practices had many dimensions and were not confined to just one particular mode of worship. Worship of yakshas and mother goddesses were prevalent. Buddhism became the most popular social and religious movement. Yaksha worship was very popular before and after the advent of Buddhism, and it was assimilated in Buddhism and Jainism. And construction of stupas and viharas as a part of monastic establishments were part of the Buddhist tradition. Apart from stupas and viharas, stone pillars, rock-cut caves, monumental figure sculptures were carved at several places. And the tradition of constructing pillars is very old. The erection of pillars was prevalent in Achaemenian Empire as well, but the Mauryan pillars are different from Achaemenian pillars. The Mauryan pillars are rock-cut pillars, displaying carvers' skills, whereas Achaemenian pillars are constructed in pieces by a mason. So, stone pillars were erected all over the Mauryan Empire with inscriptions engraved on them. The top portion of the pillar was carved with capital figures like the bull, lion, elephant, etc. All the capital figures are vigorous and standing on a square or circular abacus. Abacuses are decorated with stylized lotuses. The capital figures were found at Basara, Bakira, Lauria, Nandangarh, Rampurva, Sankisa, and Sarnath. The Mauryan pillar capital found at Sarnath, popularly known as Lion Capital, is the finest example of Mauryan sculptural tradition. It is our national emblem. It is carved with considerable care. Voluminous roaring lion firmly standing on the circular abacus with the figures of horse, bull, lion, and elephant in vigorous movement, executed with precision. And it showed considerable mastery. And it is symbolizing Dhamma Chakra Pravartana, the first sermon by the Buddha. And it became the standard symbol of the great historic event in the life of Buddha. And monumental images of yaksha, yakinis, and animals, pillar columns with capital figures, rock-cut caves belonging to the 3rd century BC. And it showed the popularity of yaksha worship, and it became the part of figure representation in Buddhist and Jaina religious monuments. Large statues of yakshas and yakinis found at many places like Patna, Vidisha, Mathura, mostly in the standing position and having highly polished surface. The face is in full round with pronounced cheeks and physiognomic detail. And one of the finest examples is a Yakshi figure from Didarganj, Patna, which is tall and well built. And terracotta figurines show a very different delineation of the body as compared to the sculptures. Rock-cut elephant at Dauli in Orissa shows modeling in round with linear rhythm. It also has Ashokan rock edict. And Barabar Hills near Gaya in Bihar is also known as Lomas Rishi Cave. The facade of the cave is decorated with semicircular Chaitya arch as the entrance. The elephant frieze carved in high relief on the Chaitya arch shows considerable movement. The interior hall of the cave is rectangular with circular chamber at the back. The entrance is located on the side wall of the hall. The cave was patronized by Ashoka for the Ajvika sect, and many Buddhist caves were found in eastern and western India. Due to the popularity of Buddhism and Jainism, stupas and viharas were constructed on a large scale. And Also, few examples of a few Brahminical gods in the sculptural representations. And stupas were constructed over the relics of Buddha at Rajagriha, Vaishali, Kapilavastu, Alakappa, Ramagrama, Vettadipa, Pava, Kushinagar, and Pippalvena. And construction of various other stupas on the relics of Buddha, including Avanti and Gandhara, which are outside the Gangetic Valley. Stupa, Vihara, and Chaitya are part of the Buddhist and Jaina monastic complexes. And best example of the structure of the stupa in 3rd century BC is at Bairat in Rajasthan. It is a very grand stupa having a circular mound with a circumambulatory path. The great stupa at Sanchi was built with bricks during the time of Ashoka, and later it was covered with stone and many new additions were made. And many such stupas were constructed, which shows the popularity of Buddhism. From the 2nd century BC onwards, we get many inscriptional evidences mentioning donors and at times their profession. And the pattern of patronage has been a very collective one, and very few examples of the royal patronage. Patrons range from lay devotees to Gahapatis and kings. Donations by the guilds are also mentioned at several places, and very few inscriptions mentioning the names of the artisans such as Kanha at Pitalkora and his disciple Balaka at Kondayan caves. Artisans categories like stone carvers, goldsmiths, stone polishers, carpenters, etc. So this is the elephant at Dauli and Lomas Rishi cave. This is the entrance. The lion capital at Sarnath. The lion capital discovered at Sarnath near Varanasi, which is more than 100 years ago. So this is one of the finest examples of the sculpture from Mauryan period. And first sermon or Dhammachakra Pravartana by the Buddha at Sarnath, the capital was built by Ashoka. The capital consisted of 5 component parts: the shaft, which is broken in many parts now, the lotus bell base, the drum on the bell base with 4 animals proceeding clockwise, the figures of 4 majestic adores lions, the crowning element. Dhammachakra, Dharamchakra, a large wheel, was also part of this pillar. This wheel is lying in a broken condition and is displayed in the site museum at Sarnath. The capital without the crowning wheel, the lotus base, has been adopted as the national emblem of independent India. The 4 lions firmly seated back to back on a circular abacus. These are very impressive and massive. The facial musculature of the lions is very strong. The inverse lines of the lips are well shown. This shows the sculptor's observation for naturalistic depiction. The lions appear as if they have held their breath. The lines of the mane are sharp. The surface of the sculpture is heavily polished, which is typical of the Mauryan period. Their curly manes have protruding volume. The weight of the body of each lion is firmly shown by the stretched muscles of the feet. The abacus has the depiction of chakra having 24 spokes in 4 directions and a bull, horse, elephant, and lion. And the motive of the chakra became significant as a representation of Dhamma chakra, and each animal figure is voluminous, its posture creating movement in the circular abacus. The animal figures display considerable command over the depiction of the movement in a limited space. And circular abacus is supported by the inverse lotus symbol. The lower portion has curved planes neatly carved. It can be viewed from all sides. There are no boundaries or fixed viewpoints. The lion captor has also been found at Sanchi, but it is in a dilapidated condition. This is the Yakshini image. Didarganj. It is in Didarganj. So, it is showing the image of Yakshini holding a chowri. This is called fly whisk. From Didarganj near modern Patna. Best example of sculptural tradition of the Mauryan period. It is tall, well-proportioned, freestanding sculpture in round made in sandstone with a polished surface. The chowri is held in the right hand, whereas the left hand is broken. The image shows sophistication in the treatment of form and medium. The sculpture's sensitivity towards the round muscular body is clearly visible. The face has round, fleshy cheeks, while the neck is relatively small in proportion. The eyes, nose, and lips are sharp. The folds of the muscles are properly rendered. The necklace beads are in full round, hanging to the belly. The tightening of the garment around the belly creates the effect of bulging belly. The lower garment has been rendered with great care. Every fold of the garment on the legs is shown by protruding lines clinging to the legs, creating somewhat transparent effect. The middle band of the garment falls till the feet. Thick bell ornaments adorn the feet. Heaviness in the torso is depicted by heavy breast. The back is equally impressive. The hair is tied in a knot at the back. Back is bare. Drapery at the back covers both the legs. The fly whisk in the right hand is shown with incised lines. These are the incised lines continuing on the back of the image. Only a specific portion of the monument is said to have been patronized by a particular patron. Traders recorded their donation along with their place of origin. And stupas are elaborately built with certain additions like enclosing of the circumambulatory path with railings and sculptural decorations. And expansions or new additions were made in the 2nd century BC. The stupa consists of circular drum, circular anda, along with harmika and chatra on the top, and which remain consistent throughout with minor variations and changes in shape and size. Gateways were added, and ample space for the architects and sculptors to plan elaborations and to carve out images. During the early phase of Buddhism, Buddha is depicted symbolically through footprints, stupas, lotus throne, chakra, etc. This indicates either simple worship or paying respect, or at times depicts historization of life events. Gradually, narrative became part of Buddhist tradition. Thus, events from the life of Buddha, called Jataka stories, were depicted on the railings and torrents of the stupas. Mainly synoptic narrative, continuous narrative, and episodic narrative are used in the pictorial tradition. While events from the life of Buddha became an important theme in all the Buddhist monuments, the Jataka stories became equally important for sculptural decorations. The main events frequently depicted are birth, renunciation, enlightenment, Dhammachakra Pravartana, and Mahaparinibbana, that is death. And among the Jataka stories that are frequently depicted are Chaddanta Jataka, Vidur Pandita Jataka, Ruru Jataka, Sibi Jataka, Vesantara Jataka, Shama Jataka. Thank you.